Welcome to Echoes of the Unknown, the podcast where we'll be exploring some of the world's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. I'm Jack Montgomery, and today we're traveling back to 1981, outside the French town of Trans-en-Provence, where an unidentified flying object reportedly left physical evidence in the form of burnt residue, along with other physical traces in a farmer's field. The incredible UFO event was later described in a popular mechanics article as perhaps the most completely and carefully documented sighting of all time. That incident, which occurred on January 8, 1981, stands as one of the most scientifically documented UFO encounters in history. The event took place outside the small town of Trans-en-Provence, which is located in the Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur region of southeastern France. On that winter afternoon, 55-year-old farmer Renato Nicolai experienced something extraordinary while performing agricultural work on his property around 5 p.m. The event would end up becoming a benchmark for physical evidence in UFO research. Drawn by a strange whistling sound, Nicolai observed a lead-gray metallic object, approximately 8 feet in diameter and 5 feet high. It was shaped like two inverted saucers and had a raised ridge around the edge. The craft had visible features on its underside, including what appeared to be landing feet or reactors, as well as circular panels. The object descended and landed about 160 feet from his position, at a lower elevation near some trees. The entire encounter lasted only 30 to 40 seconds, at which point the object began to ascend, eventually rising above the tree line and disappearing toward the northeast. He claimed that it kicked off a little dust when it left the ground. The object left burn marks on the ground where it had supposedly sat. This is how Nicolai described what he witnessed. The device had the shape of two saucers, one inverted on top of the other. It must have measured about 1.5 meters in height. It was the color of lead. This device had a ridge all the way around its circumference. Under the machine, I saw two kinds of pieces as it was lifting off. They could be reactors or feet. There were also two other circles which looked like trap doors. The two reactors, or feet, extended about 20 centimeters below the body of the machine. The following day, Nicolai notified the local gendarmerie, a military force that serves as a police force and is responsible for public safety in rural areas and smaller towns. The investigation began promptly, and the police interviewed him, photographed the scene, and collected soil and plant samples from the field. The landing site revealed several anomalies that were subsequently investigated by a French government organization whose name translates into Group for the Study of Unidentified Aerospace Phenomena. Established in 1977, it was the first official state body of its kind in Europe to study unexplained aerial sightings. A unit of France's National Space Agency, its mission was to provide a public and official scientific explanation for reported sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, also referred to more broadly as unidentified anomalous phenomena. UAPs and UFOs both refer to unidentified phenomena, but UAP is the more modern official term. It's widely used by governments to be more scientifically rigorous and less associated with popular culture. The government organization's subsequent scientific analysis uncovered some remarkable findings. Soil temperatures had somehow heated to 570 to 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit in the contact area. In addition, the ground had been compressed by a mechanical pressure consistent with about 4 or 5 tons of force, and the soil showed slight increases in phosphates, zinc, and iron content. Perhaps most intriguingly, an analysis of alfalfa plants near the purported landing site showed that they exhibited chlorophyll levels between 30% and 50% lower than normal, along with enzyme inhibition. The vegetation was stressed in a pattern consistent with exposure to strong electromagnetic or thermal energy. For example, microwave radiation or heat of several hundred degrees. Their official conclusion pointed to un événement de grande ampleur, an event of great magnitude that couldn't be explained by conventional phenomena. Although the scientific report confirmed that a physical event occurred, no clear source of the energy or definitive proof of extraterrestrial origin was found. The report was careful to avoid claiming the object was extraterrestrial, only that an unknown mechanical device appeared to have landed and departed. Nikolai had initially believed the object to be an experimental military device. The close proximity of the site to the Canjours military base makes such a theory generally plausible. However, the scientific investigation focused on conventional explanations, such as atmospheric or terrain causes of a terrestrial nature. Despite a joint investigation by the French government organization and the local gendarmerie, which lasted for 2 years, no plausible explanation was ever found. Interestingly, 7 years after the incident, on November 19, 1988, Dr. Jacques Vallée and Dr. Michel Bugnas visited the Trans-en-Provence site and met with Nikolai. Dr. Vallée's scientific career began as a professional astronomer at the Paris Observatory. They wrote up an analysis of their visit in conclusions that supported the earlier government investigation into the physical evidence and the veracity of Nikolai's eyewitness testimony. The interpretation of the encounter by UFO researchers is that the presence of measurable ground and plant effects, consistent with intense heat or radiation, can be cited as trace evidence of a genuine landing. They argue that since no conventional explanation, helicopter, military test, etc., has been confirmed, an extraterrestrial craft remains a plausible hypothesis. However, the case isn't without its skeptics and complications. Critics point to several potential issues. Nikolai was the sole witness, with no corroborating testimonies. The police report said that the traces, which were found in a farm field near a private dirt road used for agricultural access, looked like some made by the tire of a car. This explanation was dismissed by the French investigative body because of the sole witness who said otherwise. There are discrepancies in various reports regarding the exact shape of the ground traces. Some describe a perfect circle, while others mention partial arcs. Some agronomists and physicists have questioned the sampling methods and the statistical significance of the plant stress. They have proposed alternative explanations, including a vehicle or heavy farm machinery leaving traces, soil compaction and heating from natural or human sources, and potential experimental error in observation or overinterpretation of small chemical differences. The scientific significance of the Trans-en-Provence incident lies in several key questions that it raises. What kind of mechanism could generate such intense heat and pressure in a brief moment? How could an object exert multiple tons of force yet depart so rapidly? What caused the biological effects on the vegetation? Was it heat alone, radiation, or some unknown electromagnetic effect? These questions continue to challenge conventional scientific understanding. The case remains significant in UFO research for several reasons. First, it's one of the few incidents with substantial physical evidence beyond mere eyewitness testimony. Second, it underwent official government investigation using scientific methodology. Third, it continues to challenge our understanding of conventional explanations for such phenomena. The combination of immediate investigation, physical evidence collection, and scientific analysis sets it apart from many other UFO reports. Despite decades of analysis, key aspects remain unresolved. We still lack definitive identification of the object, whether it was military technology, a natural phenomenon, or something more exotic, perhaps even extraterrestrial. To this day, there is ongoing debate about the true origin of the physical traces, and the absence of additional witnesses or sensor data leaves some questions unanswered. The investigation's thoroughness, however, provides a model for how similar incidents should be studied. The Trans-en-Provence case teaches valuable lessons about UFO investigation, the crucial importance of physical evidence, the need for rapid and rigorous scientific analysis, and the balance between skepticism and open-minded inquiry. While it may not provide definitive proof of extraterrestrial visitation, it represents one of the most thoroughly documented and scientifically analyzed UFO encounters in history. More than 4 decades later, the incident continues to challenge our understanding of what is possible and what remains unknown in our world. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Echoes of the Unknown. If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with fellow mystery lovers. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the answers we seek are written in the ground beneath our feet.